matter who, it doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter how. Jealousy roots deeply in this league, and now it's Shakira Austin's time to be jealous. If they're not going to cheer for us, then I don't want to play here. Mystics forward Shakira Austin said of playing in Baltimore. Shakira Austin, she's a pretty good player.
Baltimore didn't just host a WNBA game, it experienced a cultural takeover. One night, one matchup, and suddenly the place felt less like Maryland and more like a sold-out weekend in Iowa City. Caitlin Clark wasn't even in uniform, wasn't even taking the floor, and somehow turned an otherwise forgettable game into an event that owned an entire city.
I don't get it. I don't get it. We have another WNBA player complaining about fans. Complaining about fans. These are the same women who cried and complained that people weren't watching the games, people aren't supporting, yada, yada, yada. NBA players aren't supporting. Now you see NBA players supporting. You got fans coming out. Caitlin Clark done brought all these people through, got everybody in tune with what's going on, not just with her and the Fever, but other teams around the league as well now have benefited from Caitlin Clark. And what do you have? Another player complaining about fans.
The story should have been the growth of the women's game, but instead, the headline turned into Shakira Austin, green with envy, pouting through her post-game comments. You'd have thought she'd blown a championship series the way she sulked at the microphone. Instead, the offense was simpler, harsher to her pride. Fans weren't there for her. They came for Clark. That's the moment Baltimore stopped being about wins or losses. It became about who really matters in this league right now.
Shakira Austin. And I like Shakira Austin's game. I'm very disappointed with what she had to say about the fans of Baltimore and the whole DC, everything. I know Baltimore is not DC. I know that. She's complaining about fans, complaining about Caitlin Clark fans. Now, we just had this situation. With one Ryan Howard. Ryan Howard of the Atlanta Dream did a whole press conference crying and complaining that her home arena and fans were cheering for A'ja Wilson. Do y'all want people at these games or not? We have watched you guys disrespect and malign fans all season. All season. We've had enough of it. I've never seen people complain about fans so much, but need the fans to get more money and want more money, want more attention, and all of this stuff. But
she didn't just play a game. She watched the future staring her down. All night, the arena was covered in 22 jerseys, families driving from hours away, kids screaming her name during warm-ups, adults holding up handmade signs like they were at a rock show, not a basketball game. It wasn't even subtle. Everyone knew who the arena belonged to. And the kicker? Clark wasn't even playing. Still out injured, still sitting, still the loudest presence in the building. That's when Shakira Austin broke, because there's no hiding from that kind of power gap.
Mystic Star is mad. Wishy-washy fan base. She calls him out for Caitlin Clark support.
The Washington Mystics are not the Lakers. They're not the Knicks. They're not even a top draw in their own city. Let's be blunt. They're an afterthought in the DC sports hierarchy. The average Mystics crowd at their smaller home arena is 4,000, maybe 5,000 if things line up right. It's respectable, but it doesn't turn heads nationally. Enter Caitlin Clark. Baltimore's game against Indiana drew nearly 12,000 fans, tripled what they normally pull, and Clark didn't even log a single minute.
Got us another bona fide Caitlin Clark hater, and on top of that, she seems to hate Caitlin Clark fans. Now, I wonder when she gets ready to sign the new CBA that's possibly 4 times higher than the salary she's getting right now, who do you think she believes is the reason that she's getting all that extra money?
How many other athletes in sports can sit out a game and still triple attendance on their name alone? The list is short across all leagues, men or women. That's why it's not just popularity, it's transformational. But instead of embracing that, Austin turned hostile. Austin tried to spin her frustration as care for the fans. She said if Baltimore isn't going to support them as the home team, then maybe they shouldn't play there at all. Read that again. Instead of being grateful for a full building, she basically told paying fans to take their jerseys and go home. That mindset doesn't just sound ungrateful, it sounds self-destructive.
They're going to find something to complain about, something that just isn't good enough for them. It's all rooted in jealousy at the end of the day. First, it started with jealousy of the NBA. Oh, I'm jealous of the men. I want what the NBA players have. I want the cut that the NBA players have. I'm jealous of them. I'm envious of them. Then Caitlin Clark comes. Oh, I'm jealous of all of her fans. I'm jealous of all of her exposure. I'm jealous that her fans travel and watch her play. I'm jealous that her fans take over our arenas and our home games feel like away games. I am jealous of all the deals that she's getting, all the NIL deals that she's getting, the Nike deal that she got, the State Farm deal that she got, the Gatorade deal that she got, the Stanley deal that she got. Just jealousy.
I can already hear the excuses. Well, it's her hometown. Of course she wanted support. Sure, but if
Here's what Austin forgot. In professional sports, athletes don't get to control fandom. You don't get to demand unconditional loyalty. You don't get to shame people into calling your name. Fans are free agents. Their money, their voice, their choice. They're drawn to what excites them, what inspires them, what feels bigger than the scoreboard. Trying to police that is like yelling at the ocean for having tides. You don't control it, you adapt to it.
These players are certifiably insane. Have you ever seen so much pettiness and so much jealousy? And what's crazy is so much ego in a league where nobody watches you.
And here's where things really fall apart for Austin. She admitted she didn't mind when MVP chants for A'ja Wilson erupted during games in DC. That was fine. That didn't threaten her. That didn't cut away at her relevance. But Clark, suddenly now it's a crisis of loyalty. That tells you everything. It's not about misplaced fandom. It's about who's siphoning the spotlight. Wilson is established, respected, and already has her shine. Clark, on the other hand, is stealing attention that Austin and others thought might shift their way. That's not about the fans. That's about envy. Rolled in say wasn't just a scheduling quirk. It became a lesson in economics. The Mystics agreed to move it into a bigger venue for one reason: Clark. The ticket surge, the merchandise spike, the resale market, everything pointed to her impact. And it delivered. When nearly 12,000 show up for a team out of the playoff hunt, with their star absent, it says something about the future of the league. That night wasn't a Mystics event. It was a Clark festival, cleverly disguised as a game. And that reality bites for veterans who've been grinding for years. They've busted their tails, played their hearts out, and still couldn't draw like this. Then Clark arrives, fresh out of Iowa, and the game changes overnight. That gap explains more than any soundbite ever could. Let's talk numbers. The WNBA is heading into a new era of financial growth. The league's media rights deal, worth billions, with a B. The CBA talks looming, promise salary increases that W players have dreamed of for decades. Do you think those checks are coming because 5,000 Mystics fans showed up on a random Tuesday? No, they're coming because Caitlin Clark flipped the numbers. Viewership records shattered. Social media engagement doubled. Road games turned into spectacles. She's the economic engine pulling the entire league behind her. Every player, including Shakira Austin, is about to benefit. Bigger paychecks, better travel, expanded exposure, all of it tied to Clark fever economics. So when Austin complains about those very fans driving this wave, she's biting the hand that feeds her, and that's why her comments land as bitter, not bold. Star power isn't optional in sports, it's the whole business model. Did Cleveland fans suddenly stop cheering for the Cavs when LeBron left for Miami? Absolutely. They vanished. The Cavs didn't pout about loyalty, they rebuilt. They tried to find the next star. The Chicago Bulls still sell out decades after Jordan because he elevated the brand into myth, but they also understand they'll never replicate that star power. So they lean on nostalgia until someone else catches fire. And in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes often has more jerseys in the road stadium than the guys wearing home uniforms. Do you hear those teams whining that the crowd is cheering MVP for the visitor? Not a chance. They take the sold-out arena, cash the ticket revenue, and line up for kickoff. That's how pros operate. That's why Austin's reaction looks small-time. Let's not skip the irony. Baltimore is Angel Reese country. She's Maryland royalty, a local product, a cultural figure in her own right. If anyone was going to own the arena chants, it should have been Reese. Rawness. But even in her own backyard, Caitlin Clark dominated the show. That says it all. The pull of Clark Nation is so strong, it can march into hostile territory and flip the energy without her even touching the floor. Reese's rise, significant as it is, still bowed before Clark's national wave. And that reality isn't just about fan preference, it's about momentum. The league has never been closer to mainstream spotlight, and Clark is the center of gravity accelerating it. Here's the part that makes the whole thing even more comical. Clark isn't trolling. She's not mocking rivals. She's not even addressing these players directly. She just shows up, sells out arenas, draws chants, signs autographs, and goes home. That's it. Ronards, meanwhile, everyone else can't help but talk about her. Jealousy on full display. Every complaint, every bitter jab becomes free marketing for Caitlin Clark. She doesn't even lift a finger while her rivals fuel her mythos daily. That's why envy never wins. It only makes the gap more obvious. Ronards Clark fans aren't casual wishy-washy bandwagon jumpers. They're diehards. They followed her from college to the pros. They outsell nearly every other jersey in women's sports. They build communities online. They drive hours for tickets. That's Loyalty League's dream of building, and Clark sparked it overnight. Ronards, the NBA would kill for this kind of natural grassroots movement around one second-year player. Yet instead of appreciating it, players like Austin mock and reject it. That's not just envy. That's a blind spot. Ronards, this wasn't just about one game in Baltimore. It was about the WNBA's inflection point. Players like Clark are finally transforming the league into mainstream conversation. Sponsorship, broadcast deals, ticket sales, all surging in ways unseen before. But here's the danger. When veterans and peers react with envy instead of appreciation, they risk alienating the very fans who are creating that growth. They make the league look petty when it should look united. They make the spotlight look like a burden, not a blessing. That hurts the cause for respect. And long-term, it makes the players sound out of touch. Baltimore proved the point. This is Caitlin Clark's era. Shakira Austin looked around, saw the proof in real time, and cracked under it. While Clark sat calm, injured, silent, her fans roared and owned the building. That's the definition of star power. And Austin, instead of building her own following, she drowned in envy. She wanted a home court advantage, but got reality handed to her on a platter. It's not her city anymore. At least not when Caitlin Clark's team rolls in. Ronsval's the punnet, the packets, the punnet clowns, the punnet for once again. The bigger picture is simple. The WNBA either leans into Clark's generational pull or fights against the current. The players who resent it will get left behind. The ones who accept it, they'll ride profits, paychecks, and exposure that never existed before. So yeah, Baltimore was packed with Clark mania, and once again, the loudest, most powerful voice in the room didn't belong to the Mystics or even to Caitlin Clark. It belonged to the fans she's inspired, the fans filling up arenas across the map. The rest of the league can pout, or it can cash in. Clark doesn't care either way. She just keeps winning the night, even when she doesn't play. What do you think? Jealousy or cluelessness? Because either way, envy won't slow down the Clark effect.